Hi, friends. Good morning. Good morning. Practice Indy is looking a little different this morning, so welcome to my living room. So this morning we're going to be jumping into a very twist-oriented flow. The pose that we're focusing on as a studio this week is Marichyasana, specifically Marichyasana A, or the first seated twist dedicated to the pose or dedicated to the sage Marichi. And as we really move through this flow, what I invite you to really pay attention to this morning is what habits have become very integral in your practice, in your life. Talk a lot about how the things that we do on our mats are just symbols for bigger things that happen in larger facets of our lives. So to couple Marichyasana, we're also talking a little bit about samskaras. And in the Sanskrit tradition, in yoga philosophy, samskaras are kind of the patterns or the habits, almost like the pathways that have become so ingrained, so habitual that they feel just almost like autopilot. So on your mat, maybe pay attention to, every time you step back to a plank pose, do you send the same foot back first? Or every time you stand up into mountain pose, do you reach your fingers straight up into the air or do you send them out to your sides? So the first step in beginning to shift our patterns is to recognize what they are. So that is my invitation for you as we move through this sequence together. Just notice. That way, when you have that awareness, you can translate it into much, much bigger shifts in your life. 2 blocks may come in handy today. If you know that your hamstrings are a little bit more open, those definitely won't be necessary. If you don't have blocks, no big deal. We'll have modifications the whole way through. So whenever you're ready, we're going to get started at the top of your mat. So just so that we have good reference points, the front of your mat is always going to be the front. The back of your mat is always going to be the back. We'll probably shift around a couple of times, but we're going to take it nice and slow. So from the beginning of your mat, just take a peek down at your feet. Make sure that they're roughly hip width distance apart. Drop your arms down by your sides and just appreciate the fact that maybe for the first time today, you're not sitting. So really root down into your feet, spread your toes as wide as you can, spread your fingers even wider than that. If you ever suffer from low back pain, maybe tuck your tailbone under just slightly, and then ever so slightly retract your shoulder blades. Think about shining your chest, your ribs, your collarbones half an inch farther forward, and take a deep breath in. A slow breath out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. If they're not already, blink your eyes open once again. Wiggle through your fingers. Shift your weight back and forth in your feet. Just get to know what space you're occupying today. Maybe rocking up to the tiptoes, shifting back to the heels, curling your toes under. And then take a nice full body stretch. You reach your fingers all the way up into the air. Interlace your fingers, flip your palms to the ceiling. Reach even further, bringing even more space between your palms and the soles of your feet. And then on your next exhale, release all that tension. Bend your knees a lot and just forward fold. Inhaling to rise up about halfway. And then as you exhale, rebend your knees and bring yourself all the way down to a seated posture. So shifting your hips back a little bit closer to the back end of your mat, we're going to begin in a cross-legged position. Cross your left ankle in front of your right ankle first. For a lot of us, that's going to be our non-dominant side. So just recognize what that brings up for you. And as you're sitting here, bring your palms to the tops of your knees. Roll your shoulders down. Give your knees a little bit more pressure here. Lovely. And then release your fingertips just outside your hips. Left hand's going to stay as it is. As you breathe in, send your right finger straight up into the air. And then exhale, side bend ever so slowly. Those left fingers can walk out away from you. Gently bending into your left elbow, reach through your fingertips and make sure you're not dropping that right rib cage forward. Keep it nice and open. Now looking down at your left knee, bring your right hand to your left knee. Bring your spine up a little more vertical. Slide those left fingers towards the back edge of your mat. And as you twist, maybe only go like 50% of your possible depth of your twist here. We're not forcing anything. We're not shifting anything too aggressively as we just get ready this morning. Oh, little cameo this morning. This is true. Keeping your right hand as it is. Breathe in, send your left fingers straight back up into the air. We'll side bend once again. Send your right ear towards your right knee as you keep that right arm crossed towards your left thigh. And then coming right back where we started, inhale up through center, drop your left fingers towards the back of your mat. Maybe give it 40% of your depth this time. And then crawl those left fingers back out to the left, send your right fingers up overhead, and we'll side bend on the other side of this little sequence. Inhale brings you back through center. Release your right hand down. Keeping your knees bent, step the soles of your feet to the floor in front of you and plant your palms behind you. Fingers are going to face out to the sides. So fingers to left and right, root down through the heels of your hands, the heels of your feet, bridge your hips up, and maybe shift from side to side. Lower your hips right back down. This time we're crossing that right ankle in front of the left ankle. For a lot of us, this is going to be, a little bit more comfortable, but there's a 50-50 chance this is the side that kind of blows. Right fingers are going to stay outside your right hip. Take a big breath in, lift your left fingers high into the air, and as you exhale, we'll side bend, crawling your right fingers out to the right, keeping your chest nice and broad, shooting those left fingers past the crown of your head. Looking down at your right knee, left hand comes to your right knee. Bring your spine up a little bit taller, slide your right fingers towards the back of your mat. About half the depth that you can find in a twist here. Now, ultimately, the pose that we're preparing for is a very deep forward fold with a slight twist. So the twists that we take to prepare for Marichyasana are going to be much, much more intense than the actual pose is asking. Keep your left hand as it is. Send your right fingers back up into the air and we side bend. Left ear towards the left thigh. Inhale back up through center. Right hand towards the back of your mat. Once again, come back into that twist. And then slide your right fingers past the right edge of your mat. Side bend, left fingers past the crown of your head. Inhale brings you right back through center. Tent your fingertips in front of your right shin and slowly begin to walk yourself forward. We don't have to go very far today. If it feels therapeutic, if it feels like you really need to lean into that fold, give yourself permission. What we're searching for here in this fold is our fingers reaching as far away from us as they can as our hips stay nice and heavy towards the floor. Just 2 breaths here. And then start to walk yourself back up, extending that right leg long. We want to shoot our right heel towards that front right corner of the mat. So keeping the sole of your left foot in towards your right thigh, we're going to square our shoulders to frame that right leg. Breathe in, reach up nice and high. Turn your ego off. It doesn't matter how far you fold, and exhale. Just gently bow over that right leg. If this is a practice that you're taking early in the morning before you've really done much for the day, just recognize how this shape feels now, because we'll come back to it in just a bit. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Place your left hand just behind and outside your left hip. Point through your right toes. Right fingers are going to reach up in the air as you bridge your hips straight up as well. Now, there are no hard and fast rules here, so feel free to shift around. Maybe roll your chest open and closed. Notice what is loving this and what is cursing your name. Slowly lower your hips back down. This time, rather than squaring our shoulders to our right thigh, we're gonna make this a bit more of a side bend. So square your shoulders towards, I don't know, maybe like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, if your mat was a clock face. Bring your right hand inside your right thigh. And just as we side bended earlier, shoot your left fingers past the crown of your head and begin to scoot those right fingers away from you. Inhale brings you up, letting that whole side go. Shake it out, shift it out, and then we'll simply switch sides. Straightening through the left leg, bending through the right knee. Sole of your right foot to your inner left thigh. Square your shoulders to your left leg, and inhale, reach up nice and high. Exhale, you all get an A+ just for showing up, so no need to judge on how far you fold. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, walks you back up. Right hand this time just behind and outside your right hip. Point through your left toes. Lift your left fingers high. And when you're ready, bridge your hips. Starting to shift some things around. Noticing if the shoulders are really into it, if the hips still aren't that sure. Lowering your hips back down. It's a side bend this time. So send your shoulders more towards 1 or 2 o'clock. Bring your left hand inside your left thigh here. Right finger straight up in the air. And as you side bend left ear towards left knee, begin to crawl your fingertips down to or towards your left ankle. Not dropping forward, but staying nice and broad through the chest. Bringing yourself up and out of that. Shaking it out, warming up through the spine. Letting that whole shape go. Soles of the feet will come to the mat in front of you. This time as you plant your hands behind you, palms are gonna face in. So recognize that you're rotating through your shoulder, rotating through your wrist to send your fingertips towards your hip bones. Scoot your heels in just a little bit closer here, and as you press down into hands and feet, find reverse tabletop. Send your hips up towards the sky. Maybe recognize if you feel unsteady, you might need to step the feet a little farther forward. Keep yourself here, maybe shift yourself forward. And then bringing your hips back through center, slowly lower your tailbone down to the floor. Keep your feet as they are, reach your fingers forward. Maybe floating the heels, bringing just the big toes to float on the floor. This can be your Navasana, your boat pose today. If you want to take it up a notch, maybe float one leg. Maybe float both legs. If you've got a full boat pose, maybe extend long through the legs. If you'd like to take a weighted boat, just grab your furry pal and hang on to them. I don't think she would like that very much. Continue to reach tall through your chest, reach through your fingertips. And exhale, release your feet. Keep your knees bent, slowly roll all the way down. Just one bridge pose here. So arms are down by your sides, scoot your feet in towards your hip bones. Drive down through your heels and your palms, lift your hips. Engage through the glutes, engage through the hamstrings. Think about dragging your heels towards the back of your head. And slowly but surely lower your hips down. Hug your knees into your chest, start to rock a little from side to side. And making your way however you'd like to a standing position, mountain pose. So coming right back to that mountain pose where we started. Palms are broad, weight is in your heels. Take a deep breath in, look high, reach high, notice how that feels. And then exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Fingertips or palms to your shins. Blocks might come in handy if you have those. And then exhale, bend your knees a lot. Plant your palms. Step one foot and then the next back to your tabletop pose. Dropping your knees. Tucking your left toes under, shooting your right leg straight back behind you. Cross that right leg all the way off the left edge of your mat and side bend. Reach your chin for those crossed toes. And then inhale, come back through center. Right leg stays hovering. Pop up to your fingertips. And exhale, hug your right thigh in. Step that foot between your fingers. And this is an important thing to notice. You're going to keep everything stacked exactly how it is. So quite narrow on our lunge just to begin. Send your fingers straight up. And then exhale, bring your hands back down to the ground, keeping those left toes tucked. Scoot your left knee closer in. Get practice on that transition. It's going to come in handy very, very soon. Now, because those toes are tucked, simply lift your knee, step forward. Welcome back to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, reach high. And exhale, forward fold right back in. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, make your way back, tabletop pose. Did you step the same foot back first? Just something to notice. Tuck your right toes. Extend your left leg to float back behind you. Make sure the hips aren't open but closed. Left toes are going to cross off the right edge of your mat. Press into that heel. Reach your chin for those crossed toes. Inhale, everything hovers back through center. Pop up to your fingertips. And exhale, hug the left knee in, step it through. Keeping everything stacked as it is. Come up nice and high, send your fingers into the air. Get used to things being a little shifted to one side. And then exhale, fingers come down. Scoot your entire right leg several inches farther forward. Then pick up your knee, step your right foot to meet your left foot. And inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall, look high. Stay lifted here. Exhale, hands through heart center. Now our first sun salutation is coming. If you have a pretty familiar yoga practice, feel free to start flowing on your own here. We'll meet back up in a downward facing dog. If you're with me, inhale, look up, reach high. And exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. And inhale will lift you halfway up. And then exhale will bend your knees, plant your palms. This time step back, high plank position. Deep breath in. As you exhale, drop your knees. Shift your hips into a slightly forward tilted direction as we prepare for pranam. Your knees are down, followed by your chest and your chin. Keep your hips high. Inhale, press into your palms, levitate your chest, lower your belly all the way to the floor. Keep your chin lifted, roll your shoulders back, float your palms for baby cobra. Exhale releases everything down. Shift your hips up and back by tucking your toes, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Full breath out. Big breath in. Full breath out. One more, deep breath in. Full breath out. Pedaling out through the knees if you know you need a bit more hamstring or calf attention here. Peeking forward as you breathe in, rise up to your tiptoes. Exhale, bend your knees, start to walk your feet towards your fingers. Knees can bend a little or a lot. You inhale, rise up halfway. And exhale, fold all the way. Inhale, up high. And again, do that whole sequence. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, step your feet back, plank pose. You can stick with that same variation of knees, chest, chin, or we can make it a little spicier here. As you inhale, shift forward to your tiptoes. And as you exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Untuck the toes, send a little bit of weight into your hands. Inhale for cobra. And exhale, release down, tuck your toes. Make your way downward facing dog. 3 breaths right here. Not worrying so much about exactly where things are positioned on your mat, but instead how things feel on your mat. Can you breathe slowly, deeply? And as you rise up in your breath, rise up also in your tiptoes and walk your feet toward your thumbs. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out, forward fold. Inhale, stand up tall, look up high. One last time. Exhale, forward folds. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out, plant your palms. High plank or tabletop. Many variations exist here. If you're with me, inhale, shift forward to your tiptoes. Exhale, lower halfway and hover. Inhale, lengthen through your arms, flip to the tops of your feet for upward facing dog. And exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, let your right leg lift. And then take your dog for a little walk here. Bend the knee, roll out the ankle, circle through the hips. And set that right foot down, breathe in, left leg lifts. Bend the knee, roll the ankle, open the hip. Left foot comes back down. As you inhale, pick up your right foot and exhale, hug it in, step it between your thumbs. Good. To begin, drop your left knee and inhale, send your fingers up into the air. If it feels more stable for you here to interlace your fingers and rest your palms on your thigh, that is just fine as well. Back toes are gonna untuck if that feels safe for your foot and ankle. And then just give yourself a moment here to shift your hips forward and back. Starting to get a deeper stretch in the front of the hips, the hip flexors. And then release your fingers down towards the floor. Shift your hips back, tucking your back toes once again as a little kickstand. And as soon as you find the depth of your stretch in that front leg, shift back forward. And take that 2 more times. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Send your fingers back up into the air. And we'll exhale for our very first big twist. Left fingers forward, right fingers back. We call this awkward twist for obvious reasons. Inhale right back through center. And exhale, frame that front foot, big step forward, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up. Then exhale, bend your knees, fold all the way forward. Now feel free to step directly to your downward facing dog here, or add in a little vinyasa. I'll throw in all those extra poses. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, high plank pose. As you inhale, shift forward, lower halfway or all the way to your belly. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Second side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, hug it in, step it through. Drop your right knee and untuck the toes. Fingers either interlace, come to your front thigh, or reach up high into the air, your choice. But we're shifting forward and back just a couple times, getting the hips ready. Releasing the fingers to the floor. Tuck your back toes as a little kickstand and shift your hips back. This left leg does not ever have to fully extend. And shift it forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale slowly. And exhale, bring it forward. Fingers will lift. Those back toes will untuck. And as you exhale, awkward twist. Right fingers forward, left fingers back. Maybe send your hips a little closer to the floor. And inhale right back through center. Exhale, frame your front foot, tuck your back toes, big step up, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step your feet about as wide as the edges of your mat. Bring your hands to opposite elbows. Let your head hang nice and heavy. Give yourself about 4 to 5 breaths here to just sway side to side. Don't worry so much about how this looks, but really focus on how it feels. Notice what patterns are there. Is your left hamstring always tighter than your right hamstring? Is one ankle quite pleased with this while the other one isn't quite sure yet? And then releasing your hands down, heel toe your feet back to that hip width distance. And we'll start to add on. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up nice and tall. Look up, reach up. And exhale, forward fold. Make your way to your downward facing dog. I'll go through the full vinyasa. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back, high plank or table. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower halfway or all the way down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, pick up your right foot. And exhale, hug it in, round your upper spine to make space. Step that right foot between your thumbs. This time, if you feel ready, your left knee will stay lifted. You'll press through that lifted left heel and rise up, high crescent lunge. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Now as you inhale, start to open up for that awkward twist. Left fingers forward, right fingers back. Everything in your upper body and your lower body is going to stay the same. We're just hinging at our hips. Left hand plants inside your right foot. Right fingers reach straight up in the air. Now drop that left knee down, and revisiting something that we did a little earlier, scoot that entire left shin several inches farther forward. This is always the front of your mat. Step your right foot long to the back of your mat. Your left toes might slide back just a little bit so you have a true kickstand here. And then inhale, reach long between your palms. And exhale, reach your right fingers past the crown of your head. Make space from right pinky toe to right pinky finger. And as you inhale, arms come back to a T just 4 times. We're going to exhale, thread that right arm under the left. And inhale, open. Exhale, thread. Inhale, open. Exhale, thread. Inhale, open, last one. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, open your chest wide. And then exhale, right palm plants next to left. Tuck your right toes and step back, downward facing dog. Pedal it out, shake it out, let your head hang long. Ears are parallel to your humeral bones, your upper arm bones. And second side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, hug it in, round your upper spine, left foot between your thumbs. Maybe the right knee stays lifted this time as you slide the fingers up, high crescent. Tuck your tailbone under slightly to engage everything that you can for stability, and then open up. Breathe in, awkward twist. Very good. Nearly everything stays the same. We hinge. Exhale, right hand plants inside your left foot, left finger straight up in the air. Reach like crazy. Drop your hips half an inch lower. And then drop your right knee. Just like before, scoot that entire shin several inches farther forward. Everything's going to stay as it is, stable, supported, but your left leg now steps long to the back of your mat. Your right toes might flare behind you for support. Reach through your left fingers. And then exhale, make space between fingers and toes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, left hand nice and high to the sky, just 4 times again. Exhale, thread that left hand under the right. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, last time. Exhale, thread it through. Inhale, open it up. And exhale, plant left hand next to right hand, pivot onto the ball of your left foot. Step back, downward facing dog. It's the first time through that sequence. If you need a little break here, maybe drop the knees wide, big toes touch, hips to your heels. And whether you spend the next 5 breaths in child's pose or downward facing dog, just know you're doing great. Whatever it was that brought you to your mat today, hold true to that. Recognize where your thoughts are going. Is it a familiar place or are you in uncharted territory today? One more breath. And inhale, pick up your right foot, making your way to downward facing dog if you're not already there. As that right leg lifts, exhale, hug it in, step it through. We add on. Inhale, high crescent lunge. And from here, again, tuck your tailbone under slightly. Allow the glutes to engage for stability. And inhale, open up, awkward twist. So left fingers are reaching forward, right fingers are reaching back. You're going to keep that twist through your spine. Bring the palms to touch. Drop the hips ever so slightly. Very good. You're set up for a little bind here. Begin to tuck your left tricep outside of your right knee. Use the leverage of your hands to draw your chest closer to your thumbs and breathe in. Keep pressing like crazy through your left heel. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. You're here for 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Slowly drop that left knee down to the mat. Unravel. Send your fingers straight up in the air. As you exhale, frame that right foot. Again, scoot your left knee a little farther forward. Step that right foot long to the back of the mat. Plant your left palm, slide your right fingers up into space. Option to stay right here for 3 breaths. Second option is to take 3 more of those moments where you thread the right arm underneath the left armpit, or you have the choice to take 2 hollow side lifts here. So reaching through the palms, pick up that left foot, send it forward, bend the knee, send it back down. That's one. Inhale, pick it up, send it forward. Exhale, send it back down. Wherever you are, right hand meets left hand. Right heel lifts. And exhale, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, hug it in, step it through. Breathe in, high crescent lunge. And slowly but surely breathe out, open up, awkward twist. Keep your torso facing the same direction. Bring your palms to touch. This time it's your right elbow outside your left knee. Lean in, find that bind, even if it's just a tiny little bit of contact. And then see if you can bring not your thumbs to your sternum, but your sternum to your thumbs. Gently drop that right knee down. Unravel through your upper body. Frame your left foot. Scoot that right knee forward. Begin to step your left foot to the back edge of your mat. Your right toes will flare back behind you. Plant your right hand. Lift your left fingers. Option to stay right here. Find your breath. Stay with it. Second option, 3 of those round overs. Third option, if you're looking for a little bit more heat, we've got 2 side lifts. Inhale, pick up your right leg, send it forward. Exhale, drop it down. 1 more. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, lower. Wherever you are, left hand meets right heel. Pivot to the ball of your left foot, step back, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Full breath out. 3 more just like that. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Child's pose is always there if you need it. If you're in downward facing dog, again, breathe in, lift your right leg. Breathe out, hug it in and step it through. Inhale, high crescent lunge, fingers lift. And exhale, awkward twist. Left fingers forward, right fingers back. Keep everything the same. Bring the palms to touch. Now we hinge at the hips. Exhale, take that bind, left elbow outside of right knee. And then inhale, come back up, arms open to a T. Begin to spiral open. Warrior two. You're no longer in a twist. Your left leg is long, that foot is at a 90-degree angle. Your right knee is bent, also searching for that 90-degree angle. That might not happen today. Arms are at a T. Flip your front palm, breathe in, reverse warrior. Little to no weight on that back hand. And inhale, come back through center. Exhale, stack your right forearm on top of your right thigh. Send your left fingers past the crown of your head. This should start to feel familiar about now. And then slowly but surely, dialing your thumb towards the screen and then away from you. Swim your arm behind your low back. So eventually one day we might see those fingertips sliding into the top of our right hip crease. That might not be today. Roll your chest open, send a little bit more pressure between your right forearm and your right thigh. Roll your left shoulder away from your left ear. And as you unravel, arms to a T, two long legs, all 10 toes are parallel. Forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward folds. Shift your hips from side to side. Catch your breath. Focus on the alignment here. As you shift from left to right, maybe you bend the corresponding knee. Lifting up halfway, looking at your right toes, dialing them to the top of your mat. Once again, crawl yourself around to this runner's lunge and step back. Your choice, high plank to low plank to down dog, or straight to your downward facing dog. Add in what you need, take out what you don't. Breathe into your down dog and breathe out. Inhale, left leg will lift. Exhale, hug it in, step it through. Press back through your right heel, inhale, high crescent lunge. And exhale, twist, awkward twist, right fingers forward. Inhale, bring your palms to touch in front of you. Exhale, tuck right elbow outside of left knee. Draw your sternum towards your thumbs, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, bring yourself back through center, arms to a T. Now we pivot. Hips are opening. Arms are returning to a T. Long right leg, bending deeply into that left knee. Inhale, flip your left palm. Take it back, reverse warrior. Inhale through center. Exhale, stack your left forearm on top of your left thigh. Right fingers reach up and over. Think about pressing into your right pinky toe. Right hand comes up to the sky. Dial your thumb away from you. And then behind you, sweep that arm behind your low back. Depending on your shoulder mobility today, also depending on the length of your arm bones, those right fingers might come in towards your left hip crease, or that might be nice and happy at your low back. Start to unravel. Come on up, 2 long arms, 2 long legs, 10 parallel toes, and forward folds. Maybe closing the eyes, shifting the hips from side to side. The flexion of the spine is known to be very grounding, very calming. So notice the sensations of how you feel here versus in that extended side angle or in that shoulder bind. Slowly lift yourself up halfway. Look at your left toes. Dial them to the top of your mat. Sweep yourself back around to the front. And one last time. Step left foot back to meet right. Maybe it's a vinyasa. Maybe it's just downward facing dog. Big breath in. Full breath out. Drop your knees wide. Big toes touch. Hips toward your heels. Now, if you know that you'd like a slightly longer class today, I invite you to hit pause right now, maybe rewind back a sequence or two and re-move through all of those poses. Add some more heat into your physical body. That way you can let all of that intensity go when we meet back up right here. If you're still enjoying child's pose, offer yourself just a few more breaths here. Slowly starting to walk your hands in. Shifting your hips around to one side. Bringing your bum to the mat and sending your legs long out in front of you. Now the moment we've been preparing for here, we've got all bound up, we've twisted, we've gotten our hamstrings ready, our shoulders have been feeling some things. You're gonna keep your left leg long, you're gonna bend your right knee and hug that heel in as close to your hip as you can bring it. So that heel is coming in nice and close. And just start here by interlacing your fingers in front of that right shin. Hug your chest towards your femur, your upper thigh bone. And at the same time, think about driving through your left heel. So flexing through your left foot, reaching the heel of your foot a little farther away from you. To protect our hamstrings, as this is a very big hamstring stretch, we need to activate the quadriceps. So by dialing your toes in towards you, you're engaging through the muscles that are counter to your hamstrings. Lovely. If you're happy here, stay here. If you're ready to start adding on, we're going to release that grip on the right shin. We're going to bring our right arm inside of our right thigh, maybe just tenting the fingers on the floor here. Thinking back to the beginning of class, no ego. There's no expectation on how deeply you fold here. Maybe you need to slide that right foot an inch or so farther out to the right side to make some space for your right arm here. But essentially, we're going to start crawling our way forward. If you notice your right knee dropping away from your body, hug your inner right thigh in towards your outer right arm. Several options. You can stay here, or we can start to venture a little closer to the full variation of Marichyasana A, or the first of that sequence. You're going to reach your right fingers forward, dial your thumb down, and then away from you as you begin to swim that arm in front of your shin, bringing your fingers towards your right hip crease. Now, same with the left arm, thumb down, thumb away from you, swim that arm around behind your low back. Maybe the fingertips barely come to touch. Maybe you can find that finger lock here, first knuckle, hooking on first knuckle. If you find that you are quite twisted here, we've been preparing for that. Engage through your obliques. Dial the left side of your chest a little bit more even with the right side of your chest. There should be some sensation here. Maybe in your shoulders, maybe in your back, maybe in something that you can't quite name, but just know if you can breathe, you can find a little bit more steadiness. Breathe in. Breathe out. Maybe dropping your chest an inch or two closer to the top of your left thigh. Continue to dial that left heel away from you. Engage to the top of your left leg. And slowly but surely release the grip with the fingers. Left arm unravels, right arm unravels. Sit up nice and tall. Interlace your fingers in front of that right shin once again. And slowly lay yourself all the way back, taking that shin with you. Supine pillar pose. Left arm will come out to a T. Keep your right hand on your right shin and begin to open your hip to the right side. And then with a little half circular motion, bring it back through center. One more time. Open. and close. Switch hands, left hand to your right shin, right arm up into a T. Using your left hand, guide that right shin over to the left side of you. Staying here. Finding just a few more moments, a few more breaths. And then slowly unraveling, taking a full body stretch. Let your right leg go long to meet your left leg. Reach your fingers all the way up overhead. Point through your fingers and your toes. And then rock yourself back up to a seat. Two long legs. This time, right leg stays long, left knee bends. Hug your left heel in nice and close to your hips. And we'll begin same bind, same interlace, hanging onto the front of your shin. Get your spine long, pull your chest in nice and tall, drive your right heel away. Great, engage through your quadriceps to make space in your hamstrings. Gently scoot that left heel about an inch away from your right thigh. We're gonna release that bind. Left arm inside your left leg. Fingertips tent on the floor. We can stay here. If you're butting heads with some frustration here, if you feel as though you're kind of running into a wall that is your rib cage trying to fold over your leg, recognize that this is a very difficult shape. So here we are currently in the face of some of our samskaras. How are you patterned to react when things get a little tough, when things get a little frustrating? Can you breathe in some more space and maybe take a different route? Crawl yourself forward. Float your left fingers forward, dial your left thumb down and away. Sweep that hand around towards your left hip. Great, right fingers reach forward, thumb dials down and away. Sweep that right hand behind your low back. Maybe we take a finger bind here. If that's not in the cards for you today, just know that your hands can rest on whatever bony landmarks they rest on. Now, whether you have the bind or not, take a big breath in. Think about pulling your chest forward. Right shoulder is aiming to be level with the left shoulder. And exhale, maybe drop your chin a little closer to your chest, your forehead a little closer to your right knee. Recognize here how without concentrated effort, this becomes a twist. We took all those twists so that now we can recognize them. Repattern your movement. Draw your right shoulder forward. Get stable through your core. And slowly but surely begin to lift your chest up. Unravel your right arm. Unravel your left arm. Sit up nice and tall. Catch your left shin. Lay yourself all the way back. Supine pillar pose. Right arm releases out to a T. Use your left hand to open your left hip. And close. Open. And close. Sending that into a twist. Right hand catches your left shin. Left arm opens up to a T. Guide your left shin over to the right. Feeling the breath deep in your belly. Coming back through center. One last full body stretch. Send your left leg down to meet your right leg. Full body stretch. Bending your knees, walking your heels in towards your hips. Arms go down by your sides. Begin to press into your heels. Press into the tops of your arms. Press into your shoulders. Float the hips up, bridge pose. Now, without looking from side to side, we want to keep the weight exactly as it is on the backs of the shoulders, on the back of the head. Gently tuck your right shoulder blade underneath you. And then repeat on the left side. Roll your left shoulder away from your ear. Tuck it underneath of this bridge pose. From here, send your fingers up towards the ceiling. Then all the way overhead, back so the wrist will be resting on the floor. Rise up to your tiptoes. And beginning with your shoulders, ending with your hips, slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. As soon as your hips find the floor, release your heels, release your shoulders, hug your knees in towards your chest, rocking from side to side, maybe circling through the hip sockets, making your way towards happy baby pose. Knees will come wide, elbows come inside the knees, fingers will cross the tops of the feet and catch the pinky toe edge of each foot. Soles of the feet shine straight up towards the ceiling. Now we're working in oppositions here. As we dial the soles of our feet straight up into the air, think about creating some resistance. Pull your hands into your feet, push your feet into your hands, feel what happens in the hips. And then draw your knees a little lower outside of your ribs. And once again, pull hands into feet, push feet into hands. Slowly soften. Release soles of the feet down to the floor, arms to a cactus position. Stepping the feet as wide as the edges of your mat, allow your knees to drop in together. Pausing for just a few moments in this position of constructive rest. And as you are, take a quick scan from head to toe and back again. Are there any poses that you know you still need? Any twists, any shifts? Eventually deciding if this arm position is serving you. If so, keep it. If not, release your arms down by your sides. Bring your thighs back to parallel. Shimmy your feet back to hip width distance. And one leg at a time, let your legs go long. And as you prepare to allow Shavasana to just settle in for you, close your eyes, beginning with the heels and ending with the head, checking in on every major muscle group. Can your legs be heavy and at ease? Can your glutes be soft? Can your shoulders be heavy? Can the palms, without effort, rest a little more open? Is the jaw soft? Is there space between the teeth? Resting here as long as you need. Knowing that it all comes back to the breath. And for today, this is where I leave you. No rush. So as you rest in Shavasana, maybe continue that meditation, that prompt of noticing your patterns, your habits, those pathways that becomes so warm. There are other options. One last deep breath in together. Fill up, fill up, fill up. And open the mouth, let all of that air go. Take care of yourselves, my friends. And until next time, namaste.